Let's talk about the most obvious inconsistency in Pride and Prejudice. Darcy spends months ensuring Bingley stays away from Jane Bennet. The family is beneath them. The connection would be damaging. The Bennets are an embarrassment that no man of sense would voluntarily attach himself to. And then, Darcy proposes to Elizabeth Bennet, from the exact same family.
The situation of your mother's family and the wild behavior of your younger sisters, to name but two. I therefore engaged in the office of pointing out to my friend the certain evils of his choice.
My feelings will not be repressed. You must allow me to tell you how ardently I admire and love you.
On the surface, this looks like the most straightforward hypocrisy in English literature. But it isn't. And understanding why it isn't tells you everything about what's actually wrong with Darcy at the start of this novel. First, let's steelman the hypocrisy argument, because it's not unreasonable. Darcy pulls Bingley away from Jane because the Bennet family is socially problematic. Mrs. Bennet is loud and scheming. The younger sisters are wild. The family has no fortune and questionable connections. Any attachment to them risks the reputation and future of whoever is attached. That's the standard Darcy applies to Bingley. And then he exempts himself from it entirely. He sits across from the same Mrs. Bennet. He watches the same younger sisters. He sees the same family that made him separate his best friend from the woman he loved, and decides that he, personally, is above all of that. If you stop there, it's hypocrisy. A wealthy, powerful man applying rules to his friend that he refuses to apply to himself. But Darcy's logic goes deeper than that.
I understand that he congratulates himself on having lately saved Mr. Bingley the inconvenience of a most imprudent marriage.
Did Mr. Darcy give a reason for this interference?
There were apparently strong objections to the lady.
What kind of objections? Her lack of fortune?
I think it was a family that was considered unsuitable.
In his letter to Elizabeth, the one that changes everything, Darcy is explicit about his reasoning regarding Bingley. He says, Bingley has great natural modesty, with a stronger dependence on my judgment than on his own.
Oh, it's nothing to Pemberley, I know. But I must settle somewhere. Have I your approval?
You'll find the society something savage.
This is not Darcy saying the Bennet family is the problem. This is Darcy saying Bingley is the problem. Bingley is too kind, too easily influenced, too dependent on the approval of others to make a clear-headed decision for himself. He would be swept along by his feelings, and by the Bennet family's obvious interest in securing him, without ever stepping back to assess whether this was actually right for him. So Darcy intervened, not because Jane was unworthy, because Bingley was, in Darcy's estimation, unable to protect himself. And Darcy had no such concern about himself. He was absolutely certain, completely, arrogantly certain, that he could choose Elizabeth and still maintain exactly the distance he wanted from the rest of her family. He would marry her, he would manage the connection. His strength of character and social position would contain whatever complications came with it. Not a double standard. The same standard applied to two different people, one of whom Darcy considered capable and one of whom he did not. And Darcy was catastrophically wrong about himself. He proposed to Elizabeth in the first proposal, assuming she would be grateful, assuming his wealth and status would override any objection she had, assuming that his choice to pursue her, despite everything, would be received as the extraordinary compliment he believed it to be.
Your arrogance, your conceit, and your selfish disdain for the feelings of others. My opinion of you was decided when I heard Mr. Wickham's story of your dealings with him.
Well, at least in that I may defend myself.
Elizabeth rejected him, completely, with words he didn't recover from for months. The man who thought he was strong enough to manage any connection, any complication, any consequence, discovered that he had completely misread the woman he was proposing to. His confidence in his own strength had made him blind to who Elizabeth actually was.
Will you do me the honor of reading this letter?
And this is the real arc of the novel. Darcy didn't have a double standard. He had a consistent standard and total confidence in his own ability to meet it, while Bingley couldn't. What changes by the end isn't the standard. What changes is Darcy's understanding of what strength actually means. He thought strength meant controlling outcomes, managing connections, deciding who was capable and who wasn't, and acting accordingly. Elizabeth showed him something different. That real strength isn't the ability to control your circumstances. It's the ability to be honest about yourself, about your mistakes, about what you actually want versus what you've told yourself you want. Darcy came to the first proposal certain he was strong enough for anything. He left it understanding for the first time that confidence in your own judgment is not the same as actually having good judgment. So, is it a double standard? On the surface, yes. He applied one rule to Bingley and exempted himself from it. But underneath, it's something more specific and more interesting. Darcy wasn't a hypocrite. He was a man who had never been wrong about himself before, who had never encountered a situation that his wealth, his intelligence, and his social position couldn't resolve on his terms. Elizabeth was the first thing he couldn't manage, and it broke open every assumption he had about who he was. Tell me in the comments, do you buy this reading? Is Darcy a hypocrite, or just a man who finally met something bigger than his own confidence? I'm Sana. This is Monica's Pie. The story's never just the story.